Hello everyone and welcome to video 7 of my EVA Foam 101 series. Today we're going to be talking about the 4 steps I like to use to get to the place where I can start painting my EVA foam. Yes, we are talking about how to prep and prime your EVA foam projects, so let's get started. Alright, so after we have filled all of our gaps, there are 4 steps that I do before I start painting my EVA foam projects. Step 1, I sand for my life. I sand and I sand and I sand and I sand and I make sure that it has a good base level. Everything is beautiful. My hand can rub over everything and it looks perfect. Then I do a pass with my heat gun just to close any extra cells and just to prep that EVA foam. Then I go through with my prime, which is my a Prop Monkey Studio first coat for your EVA foam. I like to do this as well as the rapid fill and the fine finish before I spray with Plastidip. Now that might sound like, oh, that's a lot of steps. You know, that might not just be 4. There are 4 main. But the big thing is I want the best texture I can get, the best clean slate, so that my projects, 1, can stand up to, you know, bumping or anything like that, but also they can stand the test of time. So I do encourage you when you do Plastidip, even if you only do Plastidip and don't do a prime first coat to kind of fill in the gaps of that EVA foam, is that you please do multiple thin coats of the Plastidip. Don't go, you know, all over it and fill in all the holes with it, because it's just going to look gunky and it's not going to be worthwhile for you to get the props or the armor or anything that you want to do, right? If you take a little bit more time, I mean, you've already spent quite a bit of time making sure that you've made the prop and you love it, or you've made the armor and you love it, and then to go and spray a really thick layer of Plastidip is kind of just sad. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use those pieces that I made in my previous EVA Foam 101 videos to show you exactly what the process looks like. So I'm going to film the sanding. I'm going to film the heat gun. I'm going to show you what the process is when painting with these and talk about the good, the bad, and the curing time. And then I will show you how I maintain thin layers of Plastidip on my projects. Alright, so I always do a light, even coat and then go back through and kind of peel any extras or anything like that, just to make sure that I don't have any bumps. The big way to make sure that you don't have any streaks or marks is to start your paintbrush before you start sweeping across your EVA foam project. That is something that takes scenic painters a lot of time to figure out and be good at, but it is amazing when you do it, the difference that you get. Now I can just wash this paintbrush out, and in 24 hours we'll be able to keep going with this process. Alright, so now that our foam pieces are done and they're dry, which is really great, and they do have significantly less texture, like less of that EVA foam texture, I'm going to do a quick sanding on them. This is just to get any of the pieces that I might have missed and prepare them for the Plastidip. So I'm just going to go over with my sandpaper making sure that got no rough edges. I am using 120. I like it for these applications. Alright, so let's talk about how these came out. So our first one, you can see, I think I needed to do a little bit more to shave down this center point, but it looks really good, and a lot of this texture will go away as soon as we start painting it, so that's really good. This is a good, first step. Same thing with this one. Could have spent a little bit more time making sure that those gaps really were filled in, maybe done a second pass after the first pass, but it feels great. Now, this angled piece, you can tell that there are some issues, and what that was me actually priming outside when there was wind, and it actually flipped over and kind of skidded across. So that's the big thing that I think if you are priming outside, make sure that you have some way to adhere or to pin down your piece so that there's no chance of it moving. Usually if I'm doing larger foam pieces, that's not a problem because the wind isn't going to pick it up and take it away. But on these smaller pieces, that can happen sometimes. It's not a big deal. Definitely like maybe just a little bit of sandpaper and priming it one more time. But again, Plastidip is not the only way to prime your pieces. You can use Flexbond, and there's a bunch of other materials. There's a material from Smooth On called Your Coat that's really great, and I'll do a video on that coming up. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you have another process that you like to use that maybe I didn't discuss, please let me know down below in the comments. I love to hear your process, and maybe that'll change my process, and then I'll have to remake another video, but that's okay. Please like and subscribe to my channel because it helps me get better, and that interaction is really awesome, and happy making.